Oh thou, when I walk to the hillside, I find rocks of Giridhar still lying melted since that day when he had played his flute over there first time. Uddhavji has arrived in Vrindavan and he is speaking to Nanda Baba and Yashoda Ji. And Nanda Baba continues, and his footprints and friends and cows are still there imprinted on rocks. Big fire looms in my heart, blazing, burning all and everything. I walk towards the woods. Lo, I see trees, lush green fruits and flower-laden trees. And then Krishna had stood with his flute, and ambrosial music had emerged on. He had touched each one of those trees, hidden behind them. During his play, and he enjoyed so much. His footprints, his leftover flower petals, tiny bells from his anklets, pieces of his ornament, pots, pieces of his lunch. Wherever I see Uddhav, I find his presence, evidences of his instant presence, scattered all over, everywhere. Now wherever I see, I find him. He is smiling in each flower, singing through the voice of each cuckoo. His face in the moon orb I see. The whole world is full of Sri Krishna. My inner soul, my being too is vanished, and Krishna alone is shimmering, shining, smiling, illuminating. Sarichaila vanodeshan mukunda padabhushitan akridani chamanam manoyati tadatmatam manoyati tadatmanam, remembering vividly, repeatedly the pastimes of Sri Krishna. Nanda and Yashoda were seized with excessive longing and inundating love. They became quiet. Shukdevji Maharaj describes Yashoda Varnimanani Mudrasya Jaridharija Shinvantya Shunyavastrakhi Snehasmita Payodhara Ita Sansmritya Sansmritya Nanda Karnanuragdadi Atyutkunto Bhavatushnim Prema Prarasavimvala. Uddhavji found 1,000 times more delicate situation than he expected. He sank in the sea of worry. How to console the couple? He knows very well conditioned souls of the world always hanker for wealth, fame and pleasure. It is rare to discover someone really working hard to find Sri Krishna. To find Krishna, developing Krishna tormentation is the only way. Tatra bulyamapi lolyameva kevalam. The success of life, the meaning of life is to attain Krishna tormentation. That is from where you enter the realm of Satchidanandam, the bliss, predominant enlightenment. Uddhav is seeing clearly the couple had already attained that so full that even he himself has started feeling like renouncing all and all the work hard on attaining, and work hard on attaining a state like Nandaji, Yashodaji, May it be a rigorous penance, hardest disciplines, high rules of conduct or anything. He also feels it would not be good to tell him to go on tormenting like this for ages. Keep crying until you are lost breath. It doesn't look civil to praise and advice to go suffering to someone who is already suffering so much. At the same time, consoling them would be anti-religious act because it would be dragging them back to materialism, which they have already transcended since long, too long. So the only alternative left is to change the topic. Then tormentation would be somewhat less. That means to tell them drop Krishna topic and indulge in mundane stuff. This would be again an unjust act as well as sinful too. How can Uddhav, an intimate friend of Krishna, do that? That too with none than Yashoda ji. Oh no, not at all. He will never do that. Now, if Uddhav ji had to use the third alternative, he will have to say, why you are lamenting for worth trashing physicality? Why worry for a might illusory sun? Consider who is whom in this ever-changing world. All relationships are fleeting, temporary and selfish. They are like meeting up two passengers on the walkway, on the train, on the airplane, anywhere. All relationships keep on moving in a circle and also recycling. Your son might have been your father, grandfather in the past life, or someone also would have been your son before, for whom you are not crying about right now. In future life, it's not sure some new one will sneak into your sonship and drag you to crying again. Therefore, please drop this passionate clinging to non-divine people and places. Just get connected with God. But this will be telling them to drop advanced PhD study course and start up with elementary school classes. Because the God Himself is their Son. Supreme God Himself is their Son. What to speak of starting to remember Supreme God, but they are already on a very high power state where remembrance is non-stop and blissful and ecstatic. Uddhavji knows well that Krishna stu Bhagavan Swayam, and that the union with him alone is an immortal relationship. Therefore he feels quite inadequate to complete the task for which Krishna has sent him. He is trying and trying, but not finding appropriate words and ideas to shoot his mouth. Now, this foremost disciple of foremost genius sage of Devalok, that is Brihaspati, began to look at the faces of the couple and all who were present, the Gopas and Gopis of Vrindavan, as if personified pain of love sitting before him, sitting before them with tear-filled eyes. That's how Uddhavji was there. There was no option. Either you just cry with them or start speaking incoherently. Uddhavji feels no ability to cry because feelings are different. He is a friend and not a parent. He has not lost Krishna. he is on a mission, and mission from Krishna. As soon as he returns, he will be with Krishna. So he cannot cry. Since he is a genius of a refined class, so he cannot speak a single word that's not true, not wise, not useful. Now you can understand Uddhava's dilemma, my dear friends. Only if you understand and feel, then my present discourse will be $1 million gem for you. Utterly helpless, Uddhava now decided to speak. What he said? Yuam shlakatamanunam deyinam yamanada. He said, oh, indeed, both of you are the most fortunate, glorifying you. I myself, your most fortunate among all fortunates. Glorifying you, I myself am fortunate. The earth is sanctified by your presence. Nanda Baba was deeply hurt. He said, Uddhava, you look and act so wise, yet I am utterly hopeless. With your ignorance, you call fortunate to a tormenting father with counted days of life and separation of his wonder-teen son. So, oh, not even big sinner be punished with misfortune like mine. Why do you mock our bad luck? Is this for what my son has sent you? Uddhava was shocked. His brain started reeling, disoriented. He could not ask Krishna to help him. Why? Because although he saw the greatness of Nanda's love, yet he could not feel the perfume of it. He failed to perceive the taste of slightest of pain ocean Nanda and Yashoda were going through. Yet he was wonderstruck to find its supremacy. Uddhava is fascinated by its greatness, but failed to take a dip and get submerged into it. Why? Because in Uddhava, splendor impulses are vibrant. Aishwaryansha Spurti is predominant in Uddhava. Because Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life and Krishna is that Supreme Lord. Therefore, Uddhava adores Krishna. Since Nanda loves Krishna so dearly, that's why Uddhava adores him too. But Nanda's love is not based on some logical settlement or scriptural text or religious injunction. It is natural, spontaneous, causeless and unconditional. This fact is beyond Uddhava's intellectual refinement, my dear friends. Just like Westerners' intellectual refinement cannot allow formless God to manifest in a form, just Jews and Christians are also intelligent people. Einstein and Freud have very refined intelligence, but their intellectual refinement does not allow any God other than Jesus Christ. Intellectual refinement of Emerson and Thoreau have much better intellectual refinement, but again, the refinement can adjust only with formless, unmanifest form of absolute reality. God is effulgent light, or even a little bit of God is Krishna-looking one. But that does not mean all temple-going followers of many missions, many all sampradayas are more refined. Not at all. The fact is, these people are just quarrelsome or commercial. to get wealth, worldly pleasures, or at least to survive nicely, they are cashing their Krishna or Shiva or Kali devotion. No matter how they believe and decorate their temples, they cannot come even near the intellectual honesty and refinement of Emerson or Berkeley or Sartre. So, suddenly Nandaji spoke of his insignificance and Krishna's supremacy. In fact, it was a small side wave among countless Sanchari Bhava waves rising out of his ocean of Vatsalya Bhavaras. It visits often when hopelessness creeps in that now I will never find Krishna. Then it flashes out his godliness and churns more bhava in the sea of love. Krishna's supremacy is Thai bhava in Uddhav, but in Nanda Maharaj, Nanda Baba, it is momentary and rise of a tiny wave. But it gave similar thought waves which helped Uddhav to communicate. Nanda Baba says, Dear Uddhav, I am not worthy to be the father of Krishna. Krishna is not an ordinary boy. Sage Gargacharya himself had told me during naming ceremony that Krishna is object of meditation of great yogis and sages and wise men. He is Lord God himself. Now I feel he was right. I saw with my own eyes, just with sportive push and pull, he dashed down 10,000 elephant-powered King Kans, whom we paid taxes all our life. To those wrestlers, to that Wali appeared, to that Pralambasur and Dhenukasur and Aristasur and Trinavar and Bakasur and Aghasur. He dashed down to death as childlike play. That 200 feet unique bow he broke like sugarcane tree. He lifted huge Giriraj mountain for 7 full days. All like a play, like a sport, adventure. Uddhav observed the tears of Nanda Baba had started drying up. His composure was changing. An idea flashed. Now I can introduce the fact that Sri Krishna is not son of anyone but Almighty Lord of the universe. He is God, the Supreme God Himself. Uddhav saw a ray of hope. Yet that's how I will succeed in my mission. Krishna has appointed me. I will drive away the lament and sorrow that's swallowing up the whole of Brajmandal. Let me start it out with this. Vrajeshwar and Vrajeshwari today. Etau hi vishwasya ch vijayoni Ramo mukunda purusha pradhanam. So Uddhav is started, my dear friend, that we will enter in the topic tomorrow. Thank you very much.